Hey guys, welcome back to Ironside Rants. I know it's been about a month since we did a video. We basically took the entire month of December off. Now, there's a couple reasons we did that. One, we were going to be out of town. I didn't really want to post it all over social media that we weren't going to be home, and so sometimes when that happens, I end up just taking a little bit of a break from doing any of our videos and things like that. So I apologize. The other reason is we were just enjoying our holidays, and I know a lot of YouTubers get out there and they like to do their Christmas video and their thank you and I hope you had a great Christmas. And guys, hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you had a happy New Year. But I was spending time with my family. I hope that's understandable. So we are gearing off and getting ready to kick the pig on this one and get some videos going. Now, we've got a couple great things going on our farm. If you have not seen or checked us out, we've got the firearms range up and going. We have got classes published, timberlinetacticaltraining.com, and we've got lots of good stuff coming there. We've also got lots of good stuff coming with our farm. We are doing meat chickens this year. We are doing starting our egg operation. We have got a bunch of logging going on the other side of our driveway and clearing a bunch of new pasture for us. So we'll be doing some fencing. We'll show you guys all of this videos coming up. What we're going to talk about today is related to the firearms training. Now, for those of you that don't know, I have a military background. I spent a huge chunk of my life doing security and security type operations, and so this is kind of my passion. This is what I truthfully enjoy, and I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment. So because of that, I wanted to do a video on guns, and now because this is a gun video, we're going to not monetize this video because YouTube makes this kind of hard, or they're certainly restricted anyways. We'll hit the little box that says it has firearms in it and let them make the determination. I've been very careful with this stuff and didn't want to do a lot of this stuff on our channel, but the fact is that this is just information that y'all need to know, so whatever, we take a hit, we take a hit. Now, what I want to talk about was getting into concealing carry, and because I do believe that, for one, you should promote your Second Amendment rights, and so that's a good reason to conceal and carry. Two, your personal protection is in your hands, regardless of what somebody else might tell you. When seconds counts, cops are minutes away. Your personal protection is in your hands. We live 20 minutes outside of town, guys. It's going to take a police department a minute to get here, and so I believe in carrying. I believe that if a gun is not on you, it does not do you any good, which means stashing a big gun in your truck, though it looks cool when you go show it off to your friends, has very little practical application, and so that gun should be on you and should be worn pretty much at all times. Mine goes on in the morning when I put my pants on and comes off when I take them off at night. So I believe that guns should serve that purpose and should always be on you if you're going to have a defensive pistol. I also believe that you should know what you're doing with it and that training should come, but that does not necessarily mean that I think that you shouldn't carry until you go get a bunch of training. Carry as soon as you're comfortable with it, and then go get the training and worry about that aspect of it later. The reason I tell you to do that is not because I want you to be irresponsible with the gun, but because I'm afraid that if you don't, you won't actually ever go get the training, and you'll pursue the training if you have the gun on you. I know it seems a little bit counterintuitive because you'd say, well, let's make sure that they're safe with it. Listen, you're gonna be safe with it because you're going to get a minor amount of training, I mean, even just from the gun store counter clerk, and then you're gonna have somebody show you how to use it, you're gonna be excited about it, you're gonna go to the range, you're gonna get the training initially to be safe with it. So let's get you carrying it, and then you can worry about getting some training to really learn how to effectively use it after you start carrying a gun. Now, let's move over here to some firearms. Let's talk about differences in what we can actually carry, what kind of guns are useful guns to have on the range with us versus what type of guns make a great truck gun or a very great household self-defense gun. And let's talk about the general size of the gun. So this is gonna be a very baseline video, guys. So if you're a big gun guy and you know a lot about guns, you're probably not gonna learn a ton here today, but this is mostly for our new shooters. Now, for simplicity's sake, we have two different types of actions, right? We have a semi-automatic pistol, which looks something like this 1911 here, and we have an old-fashioned revolver action, looks something like this Smith & Wesson here. Now, this is what, there's some debate about this. There's some debate about what the proper way and the best action is for self-defense. Here are my thoughts for it. Semi-automatic actions are virtually the only way to go for a modern tactical environment or a self-defense environment. There are some exceptions, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit, but that's generally my rule. The revolvers, these old wheel guns like this, yeah, they're fun, they're great for cowboy action shooting, and they have their place. This is a 357 Magnum, so it's got a lot more power than anything else out here. This is what I like to carry when I go into the woods, if I'm out hunting or something like that, and I'm dealing especially in an area where it has like cougars and black bear and grizzly, even though 337 is not going to do great against a grizzly, it's better than throwing rocks. So that's something that I look at. So specifically if I'm bow hunting and I don't have a decent rifle with me, this is what I look at. So that they have their application, but self-defense is not really one of them. It's not a great application. We'll delve into some reasons why here in a minute. Okay. Now, beyond that, beyond the types of actions that you have various sizes of guns. And for the sake of argument and the sake of simplicity, we'll keep it at 4. We're going to go with a full size. We're going to go with a compact, which is not really a compact, it's more of a full-size gun, and you'll even see them carried as duty guns, but in the technical realm, they call them compact, even though it's stupid. Then subcompact, this is actually what you would think of as a compact when somebody talks about a subcompact. And then we have micro pistols, pocket rockets, snake charmers, whatever you want to call them. These are the little itty-bitty pistols that somebody bought, their girlfriend keeps it in their purse, and it's that little talisman to ward off evil spirits. Okay, so let's dive in from the top. The best one and the best one to shoot is always going to be a full-size pistol. It is easier to shoot a gun that is full-size than it is a gun that is a little pocket rocket pistol. Now, there is some middle ground there based on the size of your hands. I like a Glock 19 size gun for shooting even in a tactical situation where I can carry as big a gun as I want, simply because I like the sight radius on it. I think it's easy to maneuver, and the size of it it feels better to me, which I'm not really a big fan of people saying, well, that gun doesn't feel well to me, but that I like a Glock 19 versus a Glock 17 for that matter, for that reason, because it does feel a little bit better in my hands. I have a little bit faster target acquisition with it, probably because I'm used to it. I carry one every day. But anyway, but I do force myself in my duty rigs and stuff like that to carry something like a Glock 17 or M&P full size, whatever. So that's kind of what we want to look at. Those are the 4 basic sizes that we have of our firearms, okay? Now, there's other sizes in there, and we can get into a lot of innate details on this. That's the 4 basic sizes. And again, a compact gun would not actually be what you would think of as a compact gun, and people duty carry them all the time. When I was in Afghanistan, the Ranger bats we were working with, they carried them. That's all they carried was Glock 19s as their sidearm, and then obviously their full-size rifle, but their sidearm was a Glock 19. It wasn't the Glock 17, which is the duty-size gun. Let's get this out of my way. Okay, so let's start at the top. Now, actually one quick note on safety. A lot of people in the firearms community, there's basically 2 schools of thought on safety. There is the V-notch state mentality, which all guns are always loaded and they should be unloaded to handle. Then there's this new kind of tactical idea of just know the condition of your gun. Most of the condition of my guns, or I don't know what each one of these is in, but the condition that I keep them in is called aircraft loaded, which means there's a magazine inserted, but there's no round in the chamber. And that's how I leave the majority of my guns, with the exception of whatever I'm carrying on me that day. The rest of them will all stay aircraft loaded. That's just in case somebody were to get a hold of it. It's not that I'm worried about it getting a slide racked or anything like that. That's just in case somebody were to get a hold of it, like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old that can't rack the slide. It's one more added layer of safety. And then I just get to know that the one that is ready to go is the one that's on me. Everything else I have to rack the slide if I want to bring it into a condition that would be dangerous. Okay, so M&P, this is a full-size M&P. Now we'll go ahead and unload it. Got our full magazine here. Pull it back. What are we looking for? So this is always the big thing about what you're looking for. We are looking for a empty chamber. Do not ever look for a bullet, because if you look for a bullet, then you will find the bullet, and people have a tendency of pulling the slide forward and pulling the trigger, and then they get the bang. So what we are looking for when we pull this slide back is we are looking for an empty chamber in there and making sure that it's empty. So the loaded chamber indicators are not enough. I don't remember where this one is on this side yet. The loaded chamber indicators are not enough. We want to make sure that we are actually looking in there and physically viewing that the chamber is empty. Some guns, it's easier just to stick a finger in there and feel for it real fast, and you'll be able to feel the casing head in there. That's what I like to do. If I like an M4, I'll just stick a pinky in there. It's easier than looking in it, but choose your preference. Okay. So this is a full-size gun. This is by far the easiest gun to shoot. This gun with a proper grip allows you to get a good 2-hand grip on here. Now, you will hear people make the argument that this gun doesn't fit my hand very well or whatever, and specifically with Glocks, people do that all the time. Get over that argument. I don't give a damn. It's a stupid argument, because as soon as you start training with it and practicing with it, it will suddenly fit your hand. And unless your hand is smaller than a 7-year-old girl, you can fit into a Glock, which is about the biggest grip size I realize that there's some Desert Eagles and stuff like that are bigger, but for practical application and guns that people use daily, Glock is about the biggest. So, and there's plenty of videos of 7-year-old girls, 8-year-old, 9-year-old girls running and gunning these things, and they're doing just fine. So get over it if it doesn't fit your hand very well. That's a stupid argument, and it has no bearing whatsoever on whether it's a quality firearm and a good carry gun. Also, the reason it may not fit your hand very well is because you have a shitty grip. And if you have a crappy grip, then you need to go get yourself some training and figure out how to grip that gun correctly. We'll do a video on that here coming up. But this full-size gun allows for a really nice grip on it, which makes it obviously the best choice for carrying. Here's the problem with it. This gun is huge, and this gun makes it very difficult to carry on a daily basis. Anything other than outside the waistband, and even outside the waistband, because it's heavy, it's not very good. This is one that I'm going to be using in competition here, but this is not one that I carry. This is the one that kind of stays on the nightstand or in a war belt or something along those lines, and stays ready to go. So this is not a daily carry for me. This is, if you're able to carry it, my general advice is carry the biggest gun that you will actually carry. But if you set out to carry this gun, chances are this gun is going to get left in your glove box a lot, and you're not actually going to have it on you when you need it. All right. So I know that's going to piss some people off, but I put the magazine in. That's a safe area I'm pointing it at. Chill out, guys. The gun was unloaded. Okay. Now let's move to. No, you know, actually, here, let's do this one here in a minute. Let's jump to this one. Now, this is the one that I carry, so this one is actually fully loaded. So let's go ahead and clear this weapon first. Okay. Okay, so we are clear now, and so this is a Shadow Systems MR920. This is very similar to a Glock 19. It's basically a high-performance Glock. Very, very nice gun, by the way, if you're looking for one. And this is actually what I carry probably 80% of the time. This is what I daily carry when I go out. The reason I daily carry this is because it holds 15 rounds in the magazine. I have spare magazines that hold 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, even have a 30-round one. I don't know where that is, though. This is a great gun. It has good combat tactical sights on here that come factory. This is a good size gun. It's very easy for me to carry this appendix carry. I have a good sight radius comparable to the size of the gun. There are easier guns to carry. We'll get into that here in just a minute. This is a very good fit. I like this one, and this is what I carry on a daily basis. I'm looking at some other ones like a CR920, which I'll probably add in the future, especially if I start going with red dots, because this gets a little too big when you start putting red dots on there. Anyways, guys, so this is the next step down here. Let's show you a quick size comparison to the full-size M&P, so that you can see the size difference between these guns. So you see the barrel length there, a little bit on the grip length. Pretty substantial weight difference in them, obviously, because it is a full size. And then this one being a high performance pistol had the slide lightened down a lot. So basically they put it on a mill and they carve up a bunch of crap that you don't need to make the slide a little bit lighter. Makes it carry a lot better. Now that depends on how you carry it. I carry appendix carry, but you guys can figure out exactly how you want to carry it. Now, one note I will say, you notice that these guns that I'm showing you now do not have safeties. Now, guns that don't have safeties are in the realm of being a little bit more dangerous. A lot of people that don't like them because they don't have a safety. And what I will tell you is that the bottom line is the gun's not going off unless I pull the trigger, if you understand the internals of it and the safety mechanisms inside of it. But a gun that does not have a safety always gets married with a quality holster, a Kydex holster, and it never gets tucked into your pants or in a pocket or anything like that. It always has a holster. These are married, they are joined in holy matrimony until death do them part. So you can try different pistols or different holsters if you want, but that pistol always has a quality Kydex holster with it. Not a leather holster. Leather holsters are for things like 1911s that have a safety. For a gun without a safety, we want a quality Kydex holster. Okay. So that's our full size, and then like I said, the Glock 19, the MR920, that is the compact, even though it's not really a compact. Like I said, it's a duty size gun. Now we move to a subcompact. Now let's move to, so unload this one. Okay, So this is a Glock 26. Now this one's a little bit different. This one used to be my daily carry, which is why you see the finish is really worn down on it. I carried this one every day for like 10 years. I really like this one, but I like the shadow systems better. This one does have a light at the bottom, and not a great light, but a decent light. This is a Stream Light TLR 7, 6, something like that. Anyways, good quality pistol. A great daily carry. It is a little bit fat. You can see it's a little bit thick around the midsection, like some of us get. And so it is a very good quality pistol, though. So something that we want to look at. This size, you'll find a lot of guys will like this one. Women, you may find something like a Glock 43, which is basically the same thing, but they slim it down, put a single stack magazine on there. So instead of 10+1 in the magazine, it then holds 6+1, I believe. And that's what my wife carries every day. She carries a Glock 43. Shadow Systems makes the CR920, which is what I'm looking at, which is 10+1, and it is thinner than this, but about the same size, all other aspects considered, and is a little bit nicer option. So Glock 26 is kind of an outdated thing, even though I still do really like them, simply because you can get a smaller pistol that holds as many magazines and has as good a grip and sight radius. So it loses a lot of its allure at that point in time. Other than you just like Glocks and you like the size of it, then go nuts and do great things. Something felt wrong with that trigger. I guess I'm just used to the nicer one on the Shadow Systems pistol. Anyways, so that is a subcompact gun. And then we can move to a micro pistol. So actually here, let me reload this, get this back to, like I said, I like to keep these at aircraft loaded. So now let's move to our micro pistol. Now, I don't like micro pistols. I think you will find that shooting micro pistols sucks. This is a micro pistol. Now I want to show you the size difference between this and our M&P. Look at the size difference here, guys. Now this is a micro pistol, and they are very, very easy to conceal, right? You can tuck this anywhere and it's not uncomfortable. It will fit in your purse, and this is what a lot of people do with it. It doesn't have a safety, but it is a double action, so you gotta pull the trigger and it pulls the hammer back, but it's not a true double action because it doesn't do it every time, right? So pull it back again, it doesn't do anything. You got to cock it, and it does pull the hammer back, but it's more of like an action and a half. Anyways, we'll get into that later on double actions and single actions. But these, again, they don't have a safety. This is a very hard gun to manipulate because look how small all the details are on here. So if you have to change a magazine in this, you might as well give up on that idea right there, because trying to actually do this, I mean, I have to hold this with 2 fingers and try to put this in, and then trying to get actually a good sight radius on here, get it aligned and keep that aligned. You have a very short sight radius, which means your accuracy is substantially depleted. You have a barrel that's this long, which means that you lose a lot of pressure in there. Your rounds are not near as powerful. And again, you lose a lot of accuracy with it because you have a shorter barrel. These are a very, very poor choice in my opinion. I have some because they were given to me. I've never actually purchased a micro pistol. And I won't. Micro pistols, guys, I'm just not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the .380 caliber because I don't believe it has enough power, and the ballistics seem to show that. So this is not a desirable pistol in my eyes. But that doesn't mean it's not that's true for everybody. If this will get you carrying, I'd rather you have this than nothing at all, right? So let's go ahead and look at the advantages to this. This is something that can go inside of a purse, be tucked inside of a waistband. Women that wear kind of more tighter fitting clothing, this is something that you can actually conceal and carry. They make bra holsters, I'm not a big fan of them, but they have bra holsters that you can put right underneath your boobs, and if your cleavage is big enough, then it will actually hide the pistol. If not, then you'll see it like crazy. But the advantage to doing something like that is that you have something that's reasonably readily accessible and not overly cumbersome. But again, I think those are kind of crappy holsters. So I would look at something, I've even seen people put these in a shoulder holster. They make very soft shoulder holsters that then I can tuck it underneath my arm. And it's very not noticeable, but it's not noticeable by me. I don't even remember I'm wearing it. In the event I have to use that, it's relatively simple and painless to acquire it and furnish it. So now, again, one of the problems, let me step out of the way here, I look down the sights on that, you'll see They're very poor sights. This is fairly common with pocket pistols. They do make ones of this model that have better sights. This is a Ruger LCP, and there are other options. But this is not, again, a poor option for most purposes. Where I will say that options like this fit in is, let's say you are like me and you have a farm, and when you have a farm, you have to balance, hey, how am I going to run this chainsaw and carry a full-size gun? And you can put it on a hip holster then at that point in time. But that's hard, and it gets cumbersome, and you bang the gun around, and you split handles, and you chip your gun, and you break holsters and stuff like that. It just is very in the way. Or what I personally do, I carry a revolver. And again, I'm not a huge fan of revolvers, but this is a Featherlight, Smith & Wesson. I'm trying to think of the name. I think it's Featherlight or Airlight. I'm sorry, Airweight, where it's a very lightweight. The only steel on it is the barrel and the cylinder. The rest of it is all aluminum. It's an incredibly lightweight pistol. This is what I carry here on the farm when I'm doing work here. I don't carry this out. Like I said, to me, this is just the idea of trying to get to my truck, get to my house, whatever, and something happens. And really, the predominant use of this is coyotes and stray dogs. And this is more than adequate for that. So this is what I carry for something along those lines, but this is where the micro pistols come into play. You can see they're very equivalent size-wise. The revolver is slightly bigger. Revolvers you will find, because of their thin profile, they are fairly comfortable to carry, and so it makes a great option if you want to carry something on the farm. So, like I said, for this, I wear this every day here doing chores and stuff like that. So it makes it very simple. And then this one I can throw in gym shorts or whatever. I have a holster that just slides in my gym shorts, and I can go for a run with it. I can do farm chores. It's very simple, and it's light enough to do that. So there are points and purposes for all these different guns. Again, what we talked about earlier, this is a larger revolver. This is your .357 Magnum. This has a lot less use in defensive pistol work. It is slow to reload, and it is big and heavy, and it's very much powerful, but it's kind of overkill. And then you run into the issue of, my God, with the recoil on this, trying to follow up with another shot, it's very, very difficult. So this is a great gun for, like I said, I use it for bear and cougar protection. That's kind of my idea with this firearm. And so this does have a holster that gets married to my body when I'm out in the woods and just want to have some sense of personal protection against those critters. But for the aspect of self-defense, revolvers are kind of an antique and they're antiquated. Again, there's some exceptions, and I know some people just like them, and if you do, that's fine. Here's the reality, here's the numbers. The average engagement is going to be 3 rounds within 3 seconds at about 3 yards or less. And so, but that is the average. It doesn't mean that you don't have issues where people are shooting somebody that's 20 yards away, 30 yards away, 40 yards away, especially an active shooter situation. So you're at the mall, but then that changes things drastically. And so that's why the revolvers will fit most of the bill, but not all of the bill, because again, they're very slow to reload, unless you're one of those savants like Jerry Michelet. Y'all can look him up, but for the most of us that are normal, they're slow to reload, and so that's a problem. There is an argument that they're more reliable, and I've heard that argument. It's not entirely truthful, and here's why. The argument that they are more reliable is truthful in the fact that, yeah, you don't deal with double feeds, you don't deal with stovepipes, you don't deal with kind of the click no bang malfunctions quite as much. The problem is that when you have a malfunction with a revolver, it's usually like a cylinder coming out of time. Sometimes it can be an internal issue. Sometimes you have issues with the firing pin to where you do get the click no bang. And the issue is that you're not going to fix those malfunctions yourself. You're going to end up having to do some pretty substantial gunsmithing on it. So it's not like a combat fixable malfunction. You actually have to take it to a shop or take it home to your shop and address the issue. So yes, there's probably certainly less malfunctions, but they're substantially more severe. Those malfunctions also negate, when people say that, there's actually been no serious testing done on revolver malfunctions in comparison with semi-automatic pistols over the last half century. And what I mean by that is that we don't have any real data of a Smith & Wesson, I forget what model this is, but of a Smith & Wesson 6-shooter versus a Glock 17 going through torture tests. So basically, we don't know how this revolver is going to work when you start dealing with mud and lint and gunk and stuff getting all jammed up in the internals of it. And there is certainly more aspect of things blocking the firing and hammer and actually getting in the way there. So it's a little bit of a misnomer when people tell you that they're more reliable. It's simply not true. As a general rule, they have more accuracy, but reliability is somewhat has some truth to the myth, but also a lot of lore behind it. So don't fall into that trap. Also, don't fall into the trap that all you have to do is pull the trigger, and so you should get this one for your girlfriend. That's a stupid argument. This trigger, guys, I want you to look at this. Unload this again. If all I have to do is pull the trigger, look how far I have to pull this trigger. This thing is doing several things. It's a double action, so it's pulling the hammer back and firing it at the same time, but it also has to rotate the cylinder, and so look how far that trigger pull is. So if I'm new to firearms, is that the easiest thing for me to do? Yeah, if I can stuck it into somebody's gut and pull the trigger a couple times, that's great. If I have to actually make a aimed shot at somebody that's 20 yards away, or my kid's in a playground or something like that, and I have to actually make an aimed shot at this person, it's a lot harder shot to make than using something like this, which, oh, by the way, this one, all you have to do is pull the trigger too. It's the same thing. It's a ridiculous argument. And again, people say, well, what if you're out of ammo on this? Well, if I'm out of ammo on this, I have the same problems being out of ammo on that. I have to reload. It's a several step process. So I will promise you that for those of you that say that, hey, my girlfriend needs this revolver, or my wife, or whatever, you're making a huge mistake. My wife can drive a stick shift, use all the blinkers, change the radio station, and send a text message while eating a hamburger and putting on her makeup. She can do that all at the same time while she's driving to the grocery store. Kind of joking here, guys, but you know what I mean. Your wife can do all this stuff. She can multitask. Your girlfriend can take care of this. She can put the thing in the thing and pull the thing and make it go bang, right? It's not that hard. It's not that complicated. So get over this, that she is not capable of doing that. There's a women motorcycle club around here, right? They're doing all this little stuff on their motorcycle and shifting and clicking clutches and things like that. They can figure out a semi-automatic pistol. It's a huge insult when you say, this is what my wife needs. Then the other aspect to that, please don't give your wife a shotgun, load it before you leave town, and say, here's your home defense protection. That is a talisman. It does nothing but give you psychological protection, makes the situation far worse. Bad advice, so be very careful. Now, one last gun I want to look at, and I want to show you a gun that has an external safety. And so this is a 1911. This I do not like as a carry gun. And the reason I don't like this as a carry gun, one, is they're incredibly heavy. Two, I don't like manual safeties. And I have some reasons for that, but the reason I don't like manual safeties is, I have some reason for that, but the reason that was stupid. I have some reasons for that. The big reason that I don't like manual safeties is I don't like adding another step in the process of trying to bring my gun up in that time frame. And so I also don't like the added internal mechanisms that it does to the gun that make it a little bit more complicated. And I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a step that can absolutely be avoided with most firearms. Now, that doesn't mean that if you had a 1911 that you should take it to a gunsmith and have the manual safety disengaged. That would be a big mistake, because this gun was designed to use that safety. It's designed to be carried with the hammer back and ready to go. And so this is a gun that needs to have a safety. And certainly if I had a gun that was designed to be carried hammer back, I'd want a safety on there. And this is one of the big points of contention when John Browning made this gun. It was originally made without a safety until the Army told him they wanted one on there because it was going to be carried hammer back, ready to go. Interesting fact. Okay, so, and by the way, this one's not done being built yet, by the way, for those of you 1911 guys that are like crying over this. Okay, so this is kind of the long and the short. I know this was a lot longer video than I wanted to do, guys, but I really wanted to give you guys some information about these firearms and basic picking your principles and picking what firearm you want to use. Like I said, I have about 2 that I carry on a daily basis. I carry, like I said, this little Smith & Wesson, what's the model number, 637 2-inch. This is what I carry when I'm here on the farm. And then when I'm out and about, when I go to work and stuff like that, I end up carrying, this is again a Shadow Systems MR920, by far my favorite pistol, and that's what I carry 80% of the time. So, you can certainly pick it. I've got a buddy of mine, and he carries this exact gun with the light and everything, appendix carry every single day. That to me is a lot, and that's pretty uncomfortable, and most people are not going to do that. But we want to pick something closer on the bigger end that's easier to shoot and has more round capacity, easier to manipulate, easier to change magazines in. That certainly has a lot of advantages over a micro pistol. So that being said, pick the largest gun that you will actually carry on a daily basis. And that's what I mean by that when I said that at the beginning of the video. You want to pick the largest firearm that you will actually carry. If you're not going to carry that big a gun, don't pick that as your daily carry, because you're just going to end up leaving it in your glove box and it's going to be there when you need it, not actually on you. So don't make those mistakes. Guys, I really appreciate y'all watching again. I know this was a longer video. We will catch y'all later. Make sure and like and subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and I will see y'all later this week.